Across nearly 80 years of NASCAR racing, we have had our fair share of iconic battles. Donnie Allison and Cale Yarborough in the '79 Daytona 500, Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson in Chicagoland, Joey Logano and Matt Kenseth at Kansas, the list goes on. But as the title of this video says, we're going to go over a few forgotten battles that should be remembered because they're extremely strong and extremely competitive. By the halfway point of the 2008 Chevy Rock and Roll 400 at Richmond, the broadcast had mostly been focused on the four bubble drivers battling for the last spots in the chase, as this was the chase cutoff race, being Clint Bowyer, Matt Kenseth, Casey Kane, and David Reagan. But toward that halfway point, then two-time champion Tony Stewart had found something in his car and emerged as the dominant contender, taking the lead from Dale Earnhardt Jr., who was on a different tire strategy and trying to warm up his tires in the top lane, allowing the two to battle. The other person in this battle, with Tony Stewart, being defending two-time series champion Jimmie Johnson. Johnson was on a hot streak, getting multiple wins in the last few weeks and looked to add another one to his resume. After sweeping Richmond the year before, Johnson was looking to get another win on the season, while Stewart was looking for his first of 2008. The two would battle fiercely, and eventually Johnson would try to prevail, but the two would be set back due to a caution, and their battle would be put on hold.
Tony Stewart now moving in on the 44 of Rudiman, because suddenly...
And here comes the 48 of Jimmie Johnson on the outside.
Boy, Rudiman under attack. Stewart was up high. He pulled down across the racetrack, and watched Jimmie Johnson went all the way to the high side.
Eventually, as they worked their way through the pack, they found themselves second and third, chasing leader David Rudiman, who was having a surprise strong run in that UPS Toyota. Eventually, Stewart and Johnson worked their way around Rudiman, and the two resumed their battle, and the two began to battle fiercely for the remaining 50 laps of the event.
Jimmie trying to pick up his fourth win of the year. Tony Stewart trying to get his first win of 2008.
Dale Jr., as you'll see coming into your picture there, he's moved into the third spot. Turns that center really good.
They gave him 10 to go that time by. Side by side, it's why they love coming to Richmond. Short track racing on a Sunday afternoon. Tony Stewart trying to go to victory lane for the first time in 39 races.
The longer
Stewart tried the bottom lane while Johnson used the top lane to his advantage. And ever so slightly, Johnson would pull away from that Home Depot Toyota, and as they came to the final laps, Johnson was able to prevail to get the win at Richmond. Stewart would have to wait a couple of weeks before getting his first win of 2008, albeit a kind of strange win that I don't really think he actually should have gotten. But the battle was insanely strong, and I'm surprised no one really remembers this. The two were battling fiercely across hundreds of laps, and well, maybe not hundreds, but over 100 at least. But Johnson was able to prevail over Tony Stewart. Both of them at the time were two-time champions. These were two drivers in the prime of their careers, really battling it out strong on a short track, classic short track racing. How about let's go back to this race 7 years ago in 2001. Rusty Wallace by far had the most dominant car on the day, leading well over 250 laps, but Ricky Rudd behind him in second, eager to close in on the championship points lead, moved Rusty out of the way, allowing the 28 car to take the top spot. Rookie Kevin Harvick, who replaced Dale Earnhardt Sr. earlier in the season, had come alive in his 29 Chevrolet. He wasn't even in the conversation for the lead for the entire race until the final 20 laps. While Rusty came out of the picture, Rudd and Harvick had a duel, and as they closed in to under 15 laps to go, who was going to get a hold of the lead? The grizzled veteran Ricky Rudd or the brash rookie Kevin Harvick?
Harvick's car, where did he come from? This is by far the best his car has been all night, and he turns Ricky Rudd sideways up, and how did Rudd save that car? That is a save right there.
Somehow Rudd saved that car. I have no idea. But for Kevin Harvick, it wasn't good that Rudd saved that car because the 28 was about to pounce on him. And by the time they closed in to 6 laps remaining, Rudd had had enough.
Kevin Harvick.
We've seen Harvick slip, we've seen Rudd slip, we've seen Wallace slip. He got the bumper. Here comes Rudd.
Oh, man.
The bump and run. Rudd goes back to the lead with 5 to go.
Ricky Rudd went on to score his second win of the 2001 season and the penultimate win of his career. He would get one more win the following year in 2002. But what a strong competitive race by these two drivers. Harvick, then a rookie who would go on to become a veteran for over 20 years in the Cup level, while Rudd was nearing the tail end of his career while still running extremely strong. And we all know it was all fun and games and just hard racing by hearing the interview at the end from Kevin Harvick.
How hard did you hit the 28?
Well, we aired our tires up there at the end to give ourselves a chance at the get-go, and it was scooting the tires pretty bad, and I just kind of misjudged and hit him a little bit harder than I wasn't planning on hitting him at all, but I just got into him a little bit, and he saved it. And when you get into somebody that late in the race on a short track, you got to expect a little bit in return. And
you knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming, and our car had fallen off a little bit, and his car was pretty good. So I was the first one over to congratulate him. He did what he had to do to win the race, and it's great when you can race with people. And I'm just glad I didn't take him out because I didn't mean to do it.
How about a bonus one? Let's go forward 3 years to 2004 in the NASCAR Busch Series at Richmond. This was a very interesting race where Casey Atwood, who had been running mid-pack all season, had an extremely strong race and probably one of the best of his career. Looking for his first Busch Series win since Dover 1999, found himself leading late in the Richmond race, leading a grand total of 83 laps. But tons of cautions led to a slew of restarts, and Martin Truex Jr., who would go on to actually win the series championship that year, was battling Atwood fiercely. But Truex slid, allowing both cars to slide up and allowing Robbie Gordon to take the lead. Robbie Gordon is a very well-known road racer, at least on the American scene. He has won lots of dirt races, runs a lot on road courses. In fact, 2 of his 3 Cup Series wins came on road courses, which made it seem really weird for him to be leading on a short track. But Atwood was having none of it. He quickly reeled back the 55 of Robbie Gordon, but as they came to the final laps, it was apparent that Robbie was not going to give an inch, because Robbie is also one of the most aggressive NASCAR drivers to come into the sport. As they came to the final laps, Atwood tried to have a lunge straight into Gordon's bumper, but he just missed him just barely, and Robbie Gordon went on to score what would actually become to be his only NASCAR Busch Series win, again at a short track of all places, because we all knew Robbie Gordon as a road course specialist. It was really weird to see him winning on a short track, but what an intense battle between Gordon, Atwood, and Truex. Under 40 laps to go in the Dover 400 in 2006, we're finally out of Richmond, thank God. Matt Kenseth was looking to take the points lead in the championship after having a really strong race, but his determined teammate Jeff Burton was reeling him in that singular wireless 31 Chevrolet. Burton was riding a 175 race winless streak stretching back to 2001. He hadn't won in 5 years, so you have to imagine that Burton was really determined to get this victory. He closed in on Kenseth while the fuel situation was extremely iffy, so it was unknown as if he should really be pushing this hard. But Kenseth was getting exhausted holding the 31's attempts to take the lead, and he was just asking how many laps to go, basically after every turn. Burton was able to muscle around him with under 10 laps remaining, and by the time he took the lead, he began to pull away from the 17 car. But unfortunately for Kenseth, with 2 laps to go, he would run out of gas.
Oh no, 17 is slowing down, he's out of gas.
Robbie. Oh. Really killed us, you guys.
With the gas running out and his own teammate having an engine failure, Burton looked uncertain to get this victory, but he was able to run strong with fuel left in the tank to break that long winless streak to get his first win in nearly 5 years, and would go on to take the points lead instead of Kenseth. Although he didn't win the championship that season, this was a race that cemented Jeff Burton's resurgence in NASCAR after a strong battle with his teammate, which he followed up the following year in 2007 at Texas early on in the season by, in a very similar way, with Kenseth running the high line and Burton running the low line, the two having a strong battle at Texas, where after many laps, Burton would muscle around the 17 on the very last lap to take the victory. But I have an entire separate video on that race, so you can check that out with the link in the description below. In similar fashion, in 2008 in the Fall Charlotte race, while competing again for another championship, Jeff Burton lit the car up and took the lead from Greg Biffle with just under 60 laps remaining and started to run away with it. It looked like an easy win for the 31 team, but with a caution with under 40 laps to go, the field had to be re-racked. and in a crazy strategy call, Burton would opt for no fresh tires after being on tires for almost 100 laps, maybe even over that probably, while the rest of the field did decide to take tires. And entering the 33 to go restart, Jeff Burton was holding the lead, but the 2 cars behind him were adamant about winning at Charlotte. Casey Caden in the 9 car was sitting in third, a 2-time Coca-Cola 600 winner, which is the Charlotte race in the early part of the season. He was lining up third after taking 2 tires, while Jimmy Johnson, at the time battling for his 3rd consecutive Cup Series championship, always won races at this track. He won 3 Coca-Cola 600s and multiple fall Charlotte races, leaving Jeff Burton to look like a sitting duck on old tires, while the rest of the field behind him was on fresh Goodyears, or at least parts of fresh Goodyears. But as the field went to green, Johnson looked to the inside, but Burton used the high line to his advantage and that clean air to muscle his way around the 48, preventing the fresh tires to actually use their advantage, and only having gas was all Jeff Burton needed, as he was able to go on to get the victory to battle for the championship, where he would go on to finish 6th in the final points. He would never win again in NASCAR following this amazing performance at Charlotte. Let's turn back the clock to 1991 to the Michigan International Raceway, where we can watch a National Geographic feature on nature in racing. Dale Jarrett, who is the prey here, replaced an injured Neil Bonnet the previous year, who got sidelined with a head injury that left him out of racing for 3.5 years. Jarrett was put in the car and hadn't really cemented himself as a deserving driver in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Behind him, Davey Allison, an emerging superstar, son of the late Bobby Allison. And Davey Allison was a superstar, scoring multiple wins, but he hadn't yet emerged into a consistent threat to battle for the championship. But 1991 was his year where he was battling in the top 5 in points. But winning here at Michigan would show that determined veteran superstar, that youngster, could get over the young driver. The young prospect Dale Jarrett here is the prey, while the predator here is Davey Allison, who had way much more experience. Allison fighting on the outside, using the high line to his advantage, while having a severe push on the right side of the car, making it very difficult for him to turn, while Jarrett was stuck driving on the bottom. But as they came to the final lap and into the final corner, Jarrett kept his groove, his nose on the bottom groove, while Allison had to use the momentum on the high side. And as they came to the final turn,
banking, and Dale Jarrett wiggles a little bit as they come out of the second corner. They bump, they touch, they rub, going down the backstretch, side by side, wheel to wheel. Who is it going to be in the Champion Spark Plug 400? Jarrett has the slight advantage as they go into the 3rd and 4th corners. Davey Allison battles back on the outside. It's going to be a photo finish. They touch, coming down through the triangle at the line. Who wins it? I believe Jarrett got it. Oh, wow. Congratulations. Oh, wow. Dale Jarrett.
the prey had evaded the predator. Dale Jarrett went on to get his first career NASCAR Cup Series victory over the established veteran Davey Allison. This was the moment where Dale Jarrett cemented himself as a deserving NASCAR driver. He would go on to get 31 more Cup Series wins, which include 3 Daytona 500s and a championship in 1999. Pretty deserving indeed, but it all started with this one moment in 1991 at Michigan where he was able to evade the pressure that was the predator in Davey Allison. In the Truck Series in the 2006 season, Mark Martin ended up winning the first 2 races of the year and was looking to make it 3 in a row as they entered Atlanta. Mark Martin in the 6 truck battled basically nose to tail with Todd Bodine in the 30 truck. Bodine was trying to revitalize his legacy from dropping down to the Truck Series after his Cup Series and Busch Series tenure really didn't work out the way he had hoped. In the Truck Series, he was strong, driving for Germain Racing in that 30 truck, and he was chasing Martin all across the track throughout this race at Atlanta. But he was following him everywhere he went. As Martin continued to go further ahead, Bodine would close in, and as they passed cars, Bodine would pass them along with Martin. As they weaved through lap traffic, even Bodine weaved through lap traffic, even if it meant going 4 wide and causing a crash right after, with Timothy Peters spinning due to a cut tire from the 30 truck actually hitting him. This would lead to a 2-lap green-white checkered finish where Bodine would be the leader ahead of Mark Martin. Martin would dive to the inside right after the restart and would hold the lead, but Bodine would muscle right back on the outside, bringing Johnny Benson in the 23 truck into the mix. And as they came to the final lap, Bodine began to pull away and went on to score his first win of the 2006 season en route to getting his first of 2 Truck Series championships. What a strong competitive battle between a future Truck Series veteran superstar and already an established Cup Series amazing driver that would go on to win 40 Cup races. And Johnny Benson entering the mix as well made it even more interesting. So there you have it. Those are 8 forgotten battles that NASCAR doesn't seem to remember as often anymore, at least the fans don't, but they were still competitive in nature, and it didn't look like any of those drivers really had an edge. Anyone could really win those battles by the flip of a coin. It was that close. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Make sure to let me know if you do want to see another video like this. Let me know in the comments below. If you have any other battles that I might have missed or I just didn't choose to put in this video, another forgotten battle, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll definitely consider making another video like this. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.